Councillor Sackley, would you like to present the motion of your petition?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to propose that the Council formally writes to Royal Mail to affirm the unique identity of Portchester and to request that the name of Portchester continues to be used in postal addresses in the future. The reason for this, as Mr. Alston said, is I was approached by a number of residents who were very upset. Isn't it a part of our heritage where we choose to live? Isn't it a part of who we are where we choose to live, where we build our roots, where we make our homes? And somebody in an office decides one day to turn around and say, no, let's just make it one unique area, if you like. Well, it doesn't work like that, because we all have feelings and we all have ideas of where we want to be in life. And there are so many people that have lived in Portchester their entire lives who belong to Portchester and who Portchester belongs to them. We make our businesses, we make our homes, and it's the thin end of the wedge, isn't it? It's if you lose Portchester, who's to say you're not going to lose Walsash? Who's going to say you're not to lose Titchfield and all the other places where we love? So all I ask is that we write to Portchester, write to the Royal Mail and try and get some pressure to keep our identities and our history.
Thank you, Councillor Sackley. Is that seconded? Thank you. Members, is that agreed, or do you wish to debate the motion?
Debate.
You want to debate? Okay. So you need a secretary. Councillor Price.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I agree that Portchester should keep its name in all addressed items, as should all the areas of the borough, such as Titchfield, Stullington, Warsash, etc. Prior to Royal Mail introducing postcodes, it was very important for Portchester's name to be in the address, so that the mail/stroke deliveries could be delivered to the correct address, because we have, for instance, West Street, East Street in Portchester, and there are also in other parts of the borough, such as Fareham Town and Titchfield as examples. Therefore, to deliver an item to the correct address, it was important for Portchester to be in the address line. When Royal Mail introduced postcodes, and particularly when they went over to mechanical sorting, unfortunately, the village names were unnecessary, which in my opinion is a great pity. I feel that everybody who writes an address should always include the village name, namely, therefore, by doing this, it would make sure that the address is not lost. Because of Royal Mail's insistence of not requiring the village name of Portchester in the postal address, I put a motion just after it was introduced to Hampshire County Council some 20 years ago, which was passed, and the county wrote to Royal Mail, whose response was that since the introduction of postcodes, we do not need the village name to deliver to the correct address. Very similar to the sort of response that I assume that Mr. Alsford has received from Royal Mail. I support the residents wanting Portchester included in the address line, and therefore would ask all residents across the borough to always include the village name on their addresses so that the name is not lost by default. I fully support the council writing to Royal Mail to try and persuade them that village names such as Portchester should always be included as part of the full postal address. But I would expect that the response that they will receive will be the same as the county had 20 years ago, in that it is not now necessary to deliver an item to the correct address. I have to say, personally, I've had mail which has been delivered to me at my address, which has been through other roads in Portchester, and a lot of it is going to rely upon the individual postman who may or may not deliver to the correct address. I also would add that one of the other issues which has always been there is, if you look at Warsash, and I look at my colleagues from Warsash, is that Warsash doesn't have Warsash Fareham in its address, it actually has Warsash Southampton. So I think the whole situation of once the Royal Mail introduced the postal codes, it has caused a loss of the local names. And I think that is a retrograde step for everybody concerned. So I do support this going forward. I just hope that we can persuade Royal Mail to change their ways, but I doubt it.
Thank you, Councillor Price. Councillor Englefield.
Madam Mayor, I wasn't going to speak, but I will do, because I've got something to say. It's just that I welcome the petition, and I think there's a real thing in keeping our identity from wherever you come. We're at PO 14, which is in Titchfield Common, and we've been told there again that we should only have to write Lower Church Road, Fareham, which seems a shame to me because our identity is being threatened too. But I think that's already in motion. I'm not sure about Walsall, Southampton, but I know it's Titchfield Commons no longer needed on our envelope, so it does seem a shame, and I welcome anyone who stands up for their area and keeping their identity, so well done for those that sign those petitions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Englefield. Does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Cunningham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wholeheartedly support the goal to ensure that Portchester identity is not lost. What makes Fareham such a pleasant place to live is that all the various communities which make up the borough have a real passion for their individual neighbourhoods. We witnessed that early in the year with the Funtley Parish Council request, and we see it today actually in the Titchfield Neighbourhood Plan application. I'm not going to say to the residents of Portchester I will deliver the change the petition seeks with regard to the postal code, because I don't believe I can do that. What I will do though is to ensure that every opportunity that Portchester's unique identity is preserved. The identity of Portchester is not served by a postal code, it is served by the passion that residents have for Portchester, which is clearly there for all to see. Having spoken to all now, the postal code has been used in Fareham over 40 years. The post office is very clear. The use of the code is for the sole purpose to ensure the efficient delivery of mail, give or take a few mishaps. The point that localities like Portchester are not available when using Royal Mail address finder is true. The Royal Mail are very clear to deliver a letter efficiently one only needs the house number, street number, postal town and postcode. Third parties embedding the Royal Mail address finder into their websites, for example, can, if they wish, add field options to allow localities like Portchester to be added manually. They're not limited just to the core just to the core address finder. Some websites do this, others do not. Actually, I was on one site last week where I wanted to actually fill in the county field. No matter how I tried, I could not fill in Hampshire. The truth is, Hampshire is not required to deliver post, and the company in question, therefore, took the view that it was unnecessary. That wasn't the fault of Royal Mail, it was the fault of the website not allowing people to import correctly. Any frustrations regarding websites actually should be addressed to them. Is Portchester in danger of losing its identity? I don't believe so. When talking to residents, one finds passion for Portchester, which is deep-rooted. Portchester's identity is alive. It's in the hearts and minds of Portchester residents. While serving on the Portchester District Centre Working Group, members and officers were acutely aware of the passion that Portchester residents have for the communities. It's one of the building blocks which drove that project. And when the consultation documents are published, I believe they will show just that. The identity of Portchester being at the heart of the consultation. I don't get a sense that Portchester as a locality is actually dying. The residents keep Portchester alive and won't betide anyone actually who believes otherwise. I believe to actually, if the council wishes to write to the Royal Mail think the reply is going to be the reply back is going to be exactly what I found it to be, or what the deputy found it to be, because actually the postcode is now an essential part of Royal Mail efficiency in the sense of its the way it's way it's actually delivers mail. But I will support if we can if you wish to actually direct that to Royal Mail.
Thank you very much. And now, Councillor Trott.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will also support this motion, but I think I would say that, in common with my colleagues here and everybody else, it's beholden on all people within Fareham, whichever area they're in, whether it's Titchfield, Portchester, Warsash, or in my case, Wallington, which was never a separate postal district. Wallington wasn't, to my knowledge, and yet the people of Wallington see themselves as a particular body, and they happily write Wallington on their addresses. I used to live in Portchester. I was appalled when I came back from Scotland and found that the Portchester name had been taken from the welcome to Port on the roundabout, had been taken off. But I would agree, Portchester has got its own identity, just as Warsash, Titchfield, Wallington and Stubbington and others have. Thank you, so I'm more than happy to support this.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Yes, as a Portchester councillor, I would support this recommendation and the petition. I think it's highlighted for the residents of Portchester that there's a need for them to put Portchester on their addresses when they're delivering or wanting to address letters to their friends and colleagues. It's important for businesses as well, because many businesses need to make sure that their identity is kept. But I agree with Councillor Mrs Trott, it's not just Portchester, it's every ward or village within Fareham. We all have our own unique identities, and it's important that we use Swanwick, Salisbury Green, Warsash, Titchfield Common, Councillor Englefield, when we're writing to residents. I don't think it's a waste of time writing to Royal Mail. I think it shows the importance that we as a council believe in our identities in our villages, and yes, I support this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Right, Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What can I say? How about ditto? Ditto to everything that's been said, except there's a couple of important points. The zip code is fine, except that it doesn't all work. It works where they sort the mail, but when you get postmen that don't know where you are and they're not familiar with the job, on certain occasions, and in fact only today, I came home and I found a big parcel on the doorstep, and I thought, wow, what's that? Somebody sent me a brilliant Christmas present. No, it was for somebody a quarter of a mile up the road, and it was delivered to my address. Had everything on it, zip code, everything else. Unfortunately, not my house name. And there will be a number of people who have house names that don't have numbers. And we've got East Street, West Street, and Fareham's got East and West Street. So I firmly believe that, as everybody has said, Portchester is a unique place. I've lived there more years than I've lived anywhere else now, and I fully support this motion, and let's hope that Royal Mail will take some notice this time, despite capital prices of 10 to 20 years ago.
Thank you very much. Councillor Sack.
I think all my colleagues have said exactly what my residents feel like and our residents feel like. I just hope all we can support the motion. It's about trying, isn't it? All we can do as councillors is try. You know, we can battle the big companies and get nowhere. But if we don't try, how do we know? So please support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right, now I need to put to the council whether you are happy to agree this motion. All those in favour, please show.
That's unanimous, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much.